Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Dana Villa from Chicago, USA. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Mudslides and floods have already claimed the lives of 36 people in Brazil, and the toll is likely to go up. The meteorological department has predicted more rain in Sao Paulo state. Incessant showers pounded four major cities, causing landslides. In less than 24 hours, 627 millimeters of rain fell over the coastal city of São Sebastião. People, homes, and cars have been washed away. City Mayor Felipe Augusto has termed the situation chaotic. With further rain expected in the area, several people have been moved to higher ground, and the traditional carnival festivities have been postponed. Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is visiting the region and is helping to coordinate the disaster operation. These storms are a direct outcome of global warming, which alters climates and produces extreme weather conditions, contributing to this and other global catastrophes. In his remarks to attendees of a workshop on the relationship between people, emerging technologies, and the common good, Pope Francis highlighted the need for science and technological advancement to always be in the service of human dignity and integral human development. He was speaking to academics taking part in the Pontifical Academy for Life's two-day workshop focusing on the ethical aspects of nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, and cognitive science. The Holy Father said it is becoming crucial to reconcile the advancement of science and technology with human progress. Entitled Converging on the Person, Emerging Technologies for the Common Good, the international workshop saw participation of academics from all over the world. Cardinal Marc Ouellet, the former prefect of the Dicastery of Bishops, has defended the value of priestly celibacy. In an interview, the top Canadian prelate said, "Clerical celibacy is a magnificent gift of Christ to the Church, which he said should be cherished along with encouraging vocations. He said it is a testimony of faith and must be defended." The Cardinal recalled the conference towards a fundamental theology of the priesthood that was launched by Pope Francis at the Vatican in February 2022 during his talk with an Italian television station. The Cardinal said that the Petrine ministry of the Pope, quote, "is the rock on which one can rest. He serves as the point of reference for the unity of the Church," end quote. History and the Church are going through a trying time right now, he said, adding that in order to keep the Church united, we must reach out to the Pope and support him in his ministry, not undermine him right now. The president of the Catholic League, the largest American Catholic civil rights outfit, has written to the chairman of the House of Judiciary Committee on Monday, February 20, seeking a probe into the attacks on churches, pro-life activists, and crisis pregnancy centers. The letter, written by Bill Donahue, also focused on Jane's revenge. He asked Republican Jim Jordan to initiate an investigation into the apathy of the Department of Justice and the FBI in pursuing those who engaged in violence against churches and pro-life activists and pregnancy centers. Donahue said in the letter that the relaxed response to attacks on those in the pro-life community who have been victimized stands in stark contrast to the aggressive pursuit of few instances of alleged violations of pro-life Americans. According to a decision by the Massachusetts Supreme Court, an unborn baby killed as a result of its mother getting killed is entitled to personality rights. In light of the recent U.S. Supreme Court judgment holding that there is no constitutional right to an abortion, there is growing discussion over the rights of the unborn. The case dates back to May 2009 when Peter Ronke killed his girlfriend, Yulia Galperina, who was 9 months pregnant at the time, and the unborn child also died. Peter was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and appealed the verdicts. He claimed that the question of whether an unborn child becomes a person for the purposes of the law of homicide should not be left up to the court. Prior to the 20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party last year, it stepped up its persecution of churches and Christians across the mainland, according to Human Rights Watchdog. Morehouse church leaders were accused of fraud, and online religious content was subject to stricter censorship. These details were published by China Aid, a group that tracks religious intolerance in China and aids political detainees, in its 2022 annual report. There was a surge in accusations of fraud against house church pastors and leaders, according to a non-governmental organization based in the United States. China Aid said the Chinese government also imposed stringent guidelines banning the publication of religious materials online with the intention of removing Christianity from cyberspace. The group said that since the administrative measures for online religious information and services went into effect in 2022, Christians have seen unprecedented internet repression. Many Filipino faithful participated in the solemn Eucharistic celebration that was conducted at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila following the pro-life march and prayer vigil at the Welcome Rotunda in Quezon City on February 18. The Council of the Laity of the Philippines, in partnership with the Commission for the Laity of the Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, organized the Walk for Life. The March for Life aims to increase awareness and provide local communities with tangible support for believers to cherish, respect, and protect human life in all circumstances. Thousands took part in the march, which also witnessed many bishops, priests, and nuns attending. There is an alarming spurt in the number of young people taking their lives in Bangladesh. According to the data furnished by Anchal Foundation, 532 young people took their lives last year, with an average of 44 each month. It showed a gradual increase of 101 in 2021 and 42 in 2020. As much as 63% of victims were girls and 36% were young men and boys. Unmet family expectations, internal strife, sadness, mental or financial issues, sexual abuse, and rape were some of the factors contributing to the suicides. Cases involving objectionable social media content, insults by teachers, failing exams, or the inability to purchase smartphones or motorcycles were also cited among the reasons for suicide. Before sending it to the full House, legislators in the U.S. state of Indiana made substantial amendments to a bill that seeks to limit school instruction on specific subjects for students from kindergarten through third grade. House Bill 1608's original draft made it illegal for kindergarten through third graders to learn about sexual orientation and gender identity. It also mandates that teachers must inform parents if a student wishes to change his or her gender and use alternative pronouns. During a Monday hearing before the House Education Committee, the bill underwent amendments. To send the bill to the House floor, the committee finally voted 9-4 along party lines. Still in the U.S., police in the state of California have detained a suspect in connection with the fatal shooting of Auxiliary Bishop David O'Connell of Los Angeles. 65-year-old Carlos Medina was arrested Monday morning at his house in Torrance after an hour-long standoff with deputies. Medina is the husband of the bishop's housekeeper and had done some work around the bishop's house. Detectives started looking into Medina after a tipster alleged he had been acting strange and made comments about the bishop owing him money. The 69-year-old bishop was gunned down this past weekend at his Hacienda Heights home. Archbishop Jose Gomez of Los Angeles on Sunday issued another statement saying he was deeply saddened to learn Bishop O'Connell's death was being investigated as a homicide. After Roe v. Wade was overturned, the Utah House of Representatives has advanced some of the toughest pro-life legislation. The laws would benefit rape and incest victims, as well as shut down abortion clinics that exclusively provide abortions, provided they are approved by the state Senate. The two proposals were approved by Utah House 53-14 on completely partisan lines. Abortion is currently permitted in Utah until 18 weeks of pregnancy. The first bill, introduced by Republican Carrie-Ann Lisenby, forbids facilities that only perform abortions as well as abortions performed outside of hospitals. The second pro-life bill, sponsored by Representative Kara Birkeland, expands care for rape and incest victims. Both bills limit abortions performed in the rape and incest exceptions to the first 18 weeks of pregnancy. The United States Commission on the International Religious Freedom, or USCIRF, a bipartisan government entity created by Congress to assess the state of religious freedom in other nations, has voiced concerns about preserving the right to pray freely in Jerusalem's holy sites. This comes after a string of violence against Christian holy sites in Israel. The panel encouraged the Israeli government to continue to seek assurances for freedom of religious practice and worship in accordance with status quo agreements on Thursday, February 16. USCIRF cited the Neve Yaakov terrorist attack, an incident in which Israeli settlers broke windows at the Al-Sadaq and Bab al-Zakiya mosque in Hebron, the desecration of the 50 Christian graves on Mount Zion, and the vandalism of a statue of Jesus at the Church of the Flagellation as examples of an increase in the targeting of religious sites. The European Union on Monday, February 20th, imposed sanctions on 32 Iranians, including 2 ministers, for severe human rights violations. The assets of Minister for Culture Mohammad Mehdi Ezameli and Education Minister Youssef Nouri were frozen, and travel bans were imposed on them. They have been accused of rights violations. Members of the Iranian parliament, high-ranking law enforcement officers, and judges have also been targeted for the violent crackdown against peaceful protests and for imposing the death penalty on them. Pressure is mounting on Iran to end the practice of imposing and carrying out death sentences against protesters and reverse the existing decisions. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.